Hello everyone, how you doing? And welcome back to Skye and Evan in the morning. And today we're gonna be talking about Collateral, the Tom Cruise 2004 movie. Well, Michael Mann movie starring Tom Cruise. To be clear, Tom Cruise did not direct this
Yeah,
movie. Um, and
classic early 2000s thriller that I think people overlook, honestly. This is one that I doesn't quite get a lot of like hype that people like say it's like really great and solid. It's just kind of one of those I think people see it as just like an action movie when it's like it's way more than that, you know.
this was funny. I did not see it as an action movie, and honestly, I thought the action was probably the worst part of the movie.
You mentioned that when you were watching. What's the deal with that? You don't like the action, like the
It's not that
whole
I don't
club,
like it;
like
is
that
that I
whole
think it is so like bare bones, and a lot of like the hand to hand fights and everything. It just looks so slow and like the way they cut and like
what
fake.
Well, honestly, that is I kind of like that about it is that they play fights and shootouts a lot more realistically, as it were. Michael Mann is like kind of crazy like that. Heat has an insane shootout, and like the what Tom Cruise went through like weapons training for this movie. That's how he did the whole like the briefcase scene. Like that's how he did that. Like even though he obviously didn't fire the gun real, he trained to do it. So I the action kind of looks slower in some of the fights and stuff like that, but I think it's in service of it being like what you might call more realistic.
Maybe I think there's a point to be made about like realism not always being better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like straight up, like people always compare the club to like John Wick with the red circle. Like
Yeah,
I've always preferred the red circle. It's way cooler and better choreographed. But I'm like, yeah, it's just yeah,
yeah. I was thinking that when they were the clothes, like, it's they're doing John Wick, but it was like so, and it was kind of done over and done with so soon as well in that scene. Like everything just happened fast. It's kind of like they're not.
yeah,
Um, I guess like the action doesn't seem like they're shit. What's the word? Romanticizing it, kind of. You know.
yeah. Well, again, that's how Michael Mann works with how he does action. He's a lot grittier and like
Yeah.
tries to the gun set. One of my favorite parts of this movie actually is the sound effects of the guns. Like it it's more of like a blast. If you've ever like fired a real gun or seen videos of people shooting a gun, like the videos actually don't do it justice, but it's like people like guns are like like in movies, but it's like it's more of like a thud of like a firecracker going off almost. And I'm like, I love the shooting in the alley where like in the yo homie, that my briefcase, like that scene where he like kills two guys in like a second and a half, and it like they're in an alley, so the sound just sounds like echoey and percussive. It's like it is a very realistic gunshot. I'm like, I love that Michael Mann cares about those details when he does gun sound effects.
Yeah. Yeah, that is cool. And I mean, honestly, I was not expecting to like this movie as much as I did. I thought it was just gonna be a generic like early 2000s action movie. And it was funny because the movie started. I was like, this looks like every single
Yeah,
2000s action movie ever.
there's a lot of people that don't like the look of this movie, and I'm like I said, Michael Mann used like some low quality HD cameras on purpose to give it kind of like a gritty look and vibe. But I'm like, I like well, I just love film grain. Period. You know, I like
Mhm.
movies that just indulge in the imperfections rather than like sharpening everything. But you know, there are like early 2000s isms that color this movie.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I was shocked. I really like the characters and their dialogues. We were talking before we started recording about just like the way their dialogue seems like flow when they're talking in the cab, but it's fascinating.
Well, honestly, that's what I find funny about this movie is it's almost like a philosophical argue. It's like philosophical arguments when you're in the car and like the characters like challenging each other, and then they're getting like the cops are onto them, like people that like they're like doing the job for get on the case after like Max goes to them, and it so it's a lot of different stories, but I'm like the meat and potatoes of this story is all those scenes in the cab.
Yeah.
Those scenes are so peak. It's great.
And it's wild because the opening, like the opening scenes as well, the scene as well with Max talking to
Jason
what's her name in the cab. It's really 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 good.
Annie, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like
Jada,
I was watching those like, oh wait, this dialogue is actually really really well written and really natural. It just flows really well.
yeah. It's a great way to introduce Max, honestly, because like all the key thing that gets them started is he just like proposes a different like route for them that he thinks will
Yeah,
get them there quicker, and they they bet on it, and it's you get the set like what I find funny about Max in this movie is like Vincent degrades him because he's been driving a cab for like 12 years and he's like you're not like chasing your dream, you're just sitting back. But I'm like, he likes his job, clearly. He's been doing it for a long time. He's good at it. That's why Vincent keeps him on. It's
yeah.
I
Well,
he's a guy with dreams, but
there's a lot of
knows sticks
aspects
where
to
he
his
has.
character that are interesting. Of like, he has his dreams, and there's this aspect of complacency of him just like going about his life without, um, like go chasing his dreams when like he knows what he wants, but and you've been saving money for how long? He's like, yeah, it's like you could have just
Yeah.
started the business
Well,
already. It's all I find
well,
that all very interesting.
honestly, he straight up confronts him like at the end, but I'm like, I love a line earlier on when he says that, when he says like, so driving a cab temporarily is all bullshit. He's like, it is not bullshit. And then he says like Max tells him like it's not just about getting the car and getting asses in the seats. And he just says, well, why not? And it's like his retort is kind of bullshit. It's like, why not? Why not just get a car and try, you know? And he's just like, because it has to be perfect. It's like, can't do that, man. But it's so interesting because people are like that with they want things, but sometimes they just keep it a dream. They keep it something. It's like, one day, someday I'll do that. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's Community has a joke like that in season 5 as well, but of just like, oh, you're having a temporary job. You're like, no, no, this is just to make ends meet until I get my my real stuff going. And then it's like, how long have you been working there? Oh, 12 years. It's really funny. I genuinely, to be fair, it's a common movie thing for people to say 12 because it's a one syllable word. So it makes the easier to deliver lines for punchlines. But I'm pretty sure they say 12 as well in Community. But it's just funny, and I really like that aspect of his character of like having him stand up for himself more, be less complacent, just like, and doing that
yeah,
via like just this this guy who's like holding him at gunpoint, just like making him stand up more for himself, like telling you, you know what, I'm not gonna pay for the fucking damages. It was a fucking accident when the
yeah.
the
Well,
window
this is
breaks.
what's funny about their dynamic, and this is the characters are like that. They take Walter White has that where he like takes traits from other characters and they like almost become his traits. It's like Max learns like lessons in this movie from like a hitman that like make him a more confident and sure person.
Yeah,
It's funny how that works. That like this night's changed him, and like Vincent, you know, he's kind of fucking evil, but he does like help him become more. And it builds to him going to the guy like running the show. He like full out confronts the villain and pulls it off, and because
that scene was so good,
he
by the
just
way.
goes for it. Yeah. Oh man, Javier Bardem. This is a funny movie with like some actors just showing up. You're like, oh,
I
what
mean, Jason Statham
in an
is
oh
literally
04 movie?
like
Like,
two
wow.
seconds.
There, that's a funny cameo. I don't know if that was a reshoot. There are people that theorize that Jason Statham's character there is the same guy that he plays in the Transporter movies. I'm like, I haven't seen the Transporter, but like that's a funny idea if that's like what they were going for.
Yeah, it's fun.
Man,
And like the scene of him talking to Javier Bardem is really cool. Is really funny, because he's like super nervous and everything, and
Black
then he says,
Pedro.
"Yeah, do you have an opinion on that?" Like, I think your guy should, hide, take his gun away. Like, what did you say? Then he takes his glasses off. Think he should take his gun away before I stick it in his bitch ass up. It's so
Yeah,
good.
just leans full into the confidence. Like, he's like, he just has to. Oh my god! And
I
yeah, I
was
love
w-
here
I
Deb
was
like
waiting
talking
because he
about Black
kept.
Pedro with the
Oh
sorry.
yeah,
That shit was diabolical.
yeah.
Black Peter. Oh my god.
Uh, I love as well because like I was waiting when he asked like how did you lose it? He was just gonna say shit happens, but he did it at first. He was just like I lost it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then when he's got this confidence, it's like shit happens. I need a new list. I was like yes, he did it.
It's the way Vincent sees life. And again, that's actually the interesting thing about them is that Vincent, his whole thing, he hates LA and he just moves around. It doesn't seem like he has like any, it's like a guy without a country,
Yeah.
but he runs by just rolling with it. Like he said, Darwin I Ching, shit happens, we roll with it. It, that is, it's not necessarily a better way to go about life than what Max does, but it's that attitude changing him does make
Well,
him a more confident, sure person. So
it's the obvious like having two extreme ends of the scale, and the movie kind of forces both of them to meet somewhere in the middle. You know, Max becomes less complacent and understanding more about just like stuff happening and not having a plan for everything and improvising at the same time. Vincent has to, you know, he kind of realizes the bullshit of his philosophy. So it is interesting to get those two. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a True Detective. Honestly, they're dynamic, especially with
yeah,
the
a little.
like nihilism from Vincent.
Actually, that's a great comparison. I was mentioning last night that I'm like I have trouble comparing them because they have such a unique dynamic. Yeah,
Mm.
those conversations between Rust and Marty are great in True Detective. That's very similar actually.
Yeah, yeah, that was the vibe I got, especially when it was he was just like, "Oh, you know, we're just blinks in the universe. None of us
Yeah,
matter.
what is he?
Everything."
Billy, like, he says like millions of galaxies and hundreds of billions of stars and a speck on one in a
Yeah,
blink. That's us lost in space. The cop, you, me, who notices? Like, holy shit,
yeah.
guy is just cold. It's like,
He really does not give a
um,
shit about people. It was fascinating. But then when he's
well,
like,
this
when
is
Max is like goes to visit his mom, it's so funny because he's like so attentive and like being nice to Max's mom.
it's interesting how that works. He's good at putting up a face. And also he mentions to him later on that he never knew his own mother. So
Yeah,
and his father
his
was
father was a piece
abusive.
of
So it's
shit.
like
Yeah.
it's
There's a lot
God.
to chew on. I love this. Like the more you think about it, the more interesting it gets because the characters have so many layers. Like we've
Well,
mentioned this a few times with the movies we watch, but like it feels like these characters exist in this world before the movie starts. It doesn't feel like they were
yes.
created for the movie.
So I love those movies. For one, I love movies that get better on rewatch, and I love movies that feel like there was a movie before the
Yeah.
movie started. That's how I always love describing it. I'm like, this is one of those. I'm like, I am curious what these guys like. I would watch a prequel with Vincent, like maybe not as the main character, but I'm like, that would be an interesting story. Just him on a different job. Like there's a lot you could do with like this world, and it feels so lived in.
Yeah, honestly,
And
and I mean Vincent is. I mean, it's I don't know because like you mentioned, making a prequel makes me think maybe actually explaining and showing more of his character would be a little. It would take away from
well,
the mystery and the interesting
the
aspects of his
mystery,
character.
yeah. I like what exactly does he do? Like what was he up to before this movie started? Like who knows? I'm like
Yeah.
he's just a contract killer. And I love that line as well that he repeats. It's what I do for a living. It's what he says right before like the final showdown with Max. I do this for a living. And I love how he goes out that he just sits down and he's just like, yeah, that's it. I'm out of ammo. I'm like, what's the point? You know, it's like it's pettiness. It's like it's not worth it anymore. And he brings up that guy who died on the train that no one noticed, and it's oh
I thought that was so
it's
cool that he
kind
dies like that, and it's just like the train just keeps going. It's like, yeah, life goes
plus
on,
on
shit
it.
happens.
Well, honestly, as well, it's like it's kind of melancholy. It's just like, dude, it just that's it, you know. It's like because he seems like a manic villain at the end. It is a full third act where he's just hunting them down, trying to kill them, but then he just kind of dies. Like, man, I think that's it. I'm just kind of gonna be forgotten. It's just done. It's like, wow, hell of a ending for his character.
Yeah.
That's mm.
It's interesting you mentioned like he's evil or like he is like the villain of the third act and everything. I see him more as like amoral rather than like villainous or evil. He's just like doing a
Yeah.
job.
He's like the Terminator almost.
Yeah.
It's just
I
like
mean, the scene where
programmed.
he
It's just
was
like
walking through the fucking train after them, I was like, oh, this is so Terminator.
yeah. I mean, the third acts are of both movies are pretty similar if you think about it. You know, like the girl and the guy
Yeah,
trying to escape, like the killer hunting them down. So,
yeah,
oh yeah, and they reincorporate Annie into the story brilliantly because that's why he bumped into Vincent because he was scoping out the building when he dropped her off, and she just happens to be the target. So, which connects as well because Max she gave him her number, but he wasn't confident enough to call. Oh, it all connects so well. I love this movie. It's so good.
yeah. I mean, I was watching. I was like, I have no idea how Annie's gonna connect to the plot of the movie. Then at the end, it's like, oh, she's one of the targets. It's like, oh, of course, that makes perfect sense. That was really cool. Just like genuinely a really well thought out movie. I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other specifics to go to. Like the soundtrack's awesome. I This is one of the I think I was mentioning like I did like a letterbox like top 20. I don't think this cracked my top 20. I could be wrong, but it's up there for one of my all-time favorite films. And it's just because of the two leads. They're so good and the
Yeah.
way they change each other. Like I strive to write characters as like well realized as these two and what they pull off in these conversations in the cab. It's so well written.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel the same way. But you can write something that like it feels like there's a history behind every word they're saying. That's really cool. Uh, well, is that
Oh.
it?
I it can be.
It can
I
be.
can we talked in generalities. I could go on for days about this movie, but it's great. We've gone through spoilers as always. I always laugh at that with recommending movies, but I'm like, if you've never seen or heard of Collateral, like it is better than the sum of its parts, and
Yeah.
the like you you'd be surprised watching this movie because
Yeah.
it's way more than it seems just from the cover.
Yeah. I mean, from what I knew about this movie, it seemed like a generic like Michael Bay style action movie from the 2000s, I guess. But
Yeah,
it
I
is
mean, it's
not
what you'd
that.
think. Nope.
It's always funny with stuff like this, like the stuff that has the presentation of being like some schlocky shit. I mean, it's fucking Happy Death Day, right? Where it's just like
Yeah.
stupid horror comedy. But when you actually watch it, it's like, hey, wait, like even though like the cinematography is like, like the feel of the movie is still like that type of genre, the schlocky type. It's really good underneath. That's exactly how I
Yeah, like
feel
because
about this
the
movie.
yeah, because the filmmakers care. I'm like that. It is funny how that works with some movies that maybe they don't even have great cinematography or they're like kind of generic, but it's just like you can tell the filmmaker isn't just like phoning it in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah,
It isn't just
those
some
are
some
interesting movies.
bullshit, and it's like actually going for something that's really cool. I mean, I feel that way sometimes when I watch something. I was like, damn, there's actually like something really cool here. Like I'll watch a random fucking like Netflix movie, and it'll be like, wow, this is actually good. Through the mask of it being just like a silly. I mean, it's it's almost like the Good Place, where it's like, oh, generic sitcom, and you're
Yeah.
like, it's not. It's really not.
No, it's far more than that.
Yes.
It's actually ironic. The Good Place is an example because that's like intentional. It's like intentionally fake looking, and
Yeah,
they can't swear and stuff like that. Like, oh man.
but yeah.
All right.
Well, it's my turn to recommend something.
Indeed, it is. What do you have
Well,
for us today?
well, well. Well, I had two ideas for today, but since this movie just hit HBO Max recently this week, I'm not sure if it did for you. If not, you're gonna have to like buy the Blu-ray or something. Uh, I'm afraid. But
Oh,
it's a Brazilian movie that I've mentioned a few times, and I got like 10 pages of the book left, so I may as well just recommend it now. It's a Brazilian movie called Invisible Life. Um,
Visible Life. I think you mentioned it
I've
to me
mentioned it
before.
many. I've
It's
mentioned it since before we started the podcast. Um, it's I really
it's based on
really
a book, you said?
yeah, it's really
Huh.
really good. Really good movie. I haven't seen it since it came out though, but I really liked it. It came out in 2019, same year as Bacurau did. I actually thought it was better than Bacurau at the time. I'm not sure now. I'll rewatch it and then we'll see. And I wanted to read the book before we ever talked about this movie because I'm curious what you are going to think as
Well,
someone who is A, not Brazilian, and B, has not read the book, versus me, who has read the book and is Brazilian, and just talk
well,
about it because I think it's a really good movie. So, yeah.
well, low key, there's a couple of movies on my list that are like that, where I'm like, I want to read the book, or get us both to read the book and then watch the movie to
Uh-huh.
see, like, because I'm getting more curious about that. Obviously, with like Slough House and stuff like that. I love comparing movies to their adaptations. So, all right.
Yeah.
Curious to check it out. I'm not looking anything like, just like background. I want to be surprised. I have not heard of that movie, or like not never looked into it. So
Yeah. So, Invisible Life for next week. It's a good Brazilian movie. And,
all right.
yeah. The other movie I was gonna mention is probably the one I'm gonna recommend my next time, which is Eternals. I think it's time.
Oh, that'd be very. We will definitely get there. But by the way, that's another one that I am definitely going to recommend is like Endgame. Like I want to just have like a. There might even be a lengthy conversation, but I'm telling. I despise that movie for so many reasons. I'm like the world building. There's just so much to talk about with the blip. Where I'm like, I want to delve into that. But Eternals, like I love just how much of a black sheep it is. Like it was a
Yeah.
complete miss. Like, yeah, like no secret, poof, done. It's like, dude, it was not that bad. It
It
really
was
was not that. Like
it
people are
wasn't even
fucking unfair.
it is really, really good. It's a weird movie. I really don't get the reaction to it.
People in the MCU. Well, it's just, I honestly do think it was just because it wasn't MCU-y enough. It's
Yeah.
slower paced, and it takes its time, and
It
I
is
just love
character
it. People like, no,
focused
it's
and
like
like the action is very much not the point of the movie.
it's that whole thing where like the IMDb ratings of WandaVision get better as the show slowly turns into slop, and it's like,
Does it
God damn it!
actually?
Like, why are people? Yes, have you seen
Oh
that?
my god, I'm gonna check that now on
Oh yeah,
the
the IMDb ratings, they got better as the show
That's
progressed,
hilarious
which is
because the show
ironic because
clearly gets worse as it goes.
yeah, it's more interesting when it starts off, and then by the end, it just becomes like the red goo versus the purple goo fight. It's like, God damn it! It's like,
Holy shit, this is hilarious. You're actually right. 7.3,
yeah.
7.6, 8,
Well, when that
8.7, 8.9, 8.7, 8.3, 8.9, 8.3. That's insane. The best episodes are the
well,
first three.
well, the thing about that is, it's like people when people saw, they're like, oh, people are gonna get the message now, like more slop. It's like the Mando season 2 and like Luke showing up, it's just like, hey, more of this, more member berries, more like thing. Hey, that's the thing from the thing. It's like we wonder why the MCU is the way it is. Of like people literally asked for it. So
Oh man, that's Eva, you just ruined my mood. I did not know this. Why would you tell me that? Why would you tell me that? No.
We'll redeem ourselves with the Turtles.
Oh.
We'll talk more MCU at some point. It's so funny that like Deadpool and Wolverine is like
It's
the
the
only
only
time we really
MCU
like
we've
sink
talked
our
about.
teeth into the
Okay.
MCU.
There's some good. I'm planning to do an MCU rewatch with a friend of mine, just because I'm curious to rewatch them after all these years.
I would love to go back to some that I loved. Like
Yeah.
I've always loved Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Like I do think it's flawed, but that's always been my favorite MCU movie ever
Yeah.
since I watched them. Like
And you've
that's
only
it.
seen
No,
Guardians
it's
2
just
like once, right? So we there's that also,
yeah.
and that's like
And
one of
I've
my
never.
favorite all-time movies. So
Yeah, this really inspired you. I've rewatched the first one a bunch, and I've seen all three, but I never rewatched 2 or 3.
yeah.
Just I just haven't gone back to them, you know. So
Yeah, that trilogy means the world to me. Uh, but
uh,
anyway, our MCU ramblings apart. We'll catch you next week
sorry
with this
for another
indie
day.
Brazilian movie instead of the MCU. You're gonna need to wait 2 weeks for the MCU. Sorry, not sorry. And then we're gonna talk about the MCU movie
Catch-
that no one likes because yeah, we're quirky like that.
Yeah, we will cover what we will. All right.
uh
Thank you very much for our more rambling discussion at the end there.
yeah.
We will catch you next time.
Bye bye.